I don't think that people go into these positions anymore with the concept or the idea that the only thing that should be motivating them is money. Mm-hmm. I think really money is an aspect of it, but it's also meaning. It's also purpose. And so that's where I come up with the principle of purpose-driven and finding meaning in what is it that you're doing. And so that's the first one.
Matt Woolley Podcast.
All right. So today, my guest is Brandon Zamzow.
That's right.
Do I need to refer to you as Zamzow or as Brandon?
You can refer to me as whatever you want.
Brandon, let's go Brandon, but Zamzow, I'm going to be honest, sounds epic.
Yeah.
Zamzow.
Yeah, that's what I'm used to. I mean, athletics my entire life.
Zamzow, get over there.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So
it's usually good job, Zamzow.
Yeah. Okay.
Nothing I'm getting on.
Great job. Hey, Zamzow really saved us out there.
Yeah, that's usually more encouraging.
All right. So who is Brandon Zamzow? Brandon Zamzow is a husband and father. You got an associate's degree in biology from, is it Pinnacle College?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then you also went to, which I found interesting looking up your history here, you went to University of Arkansas at Monticello studying accounting and finance. So that's where I'm from originally. I'm from around that area, a place called Woodlawn is where I was born and raised.
Yep, I know Woodlawn.
Yeah, great hunting.
Oh yeah, Stuttgart, the whole area.
Yeah,
it's great for duck hunting.
Full of game. And then came to University of Arkansas, Sam M. Walton College of Business, where you got a Bachelor of Business Administration in Logistics, Materials, and Supply Chain Management. And then you went to Reckitt as a supply chain co-op, Ready Pac Foods for a replenishment analyst, Johnson & Johnson for customer logistics analyst and CPFR analyst, senior analyst, supply chain customer solutions, medical devices, supply chain team lead for Sam's Club and e-commerce. That was quite a bit. Yeah. I would hate to have to, what do you do? Well,
that's been a struggle my entire career. Being able to tell people what I do is just not. It's not appealing or it's not attractive.
No, I understand. Well, it's kind of like when people ask me about design styles, I've learned to just say, we make things look so pretty, you just have to buy them. And they're like, oh yeah. I was like, yeah, like when you see packaging in Walmart or like a display in Walmart, that's what we do. And they're like, oh, yeah. There's like 300 other layers to that, but that's what we do. Yeah. And so obviously you're still there. You're working at, which is the transition to Kenvue, because Kenvue brought out Johnson & Johnson. You're supply chain team lead for both Sam's Club and BJ's, which that has to be an interesting dynamic.
Yeah. Well, it's club business.
Yeah, club business. And you're also the head of Pinnacle Strategy Consulting, which we'll get off into that in a minute. So now that we know what Mr. Zamzow has done, let's go back. Where were you born and raised?
Northwest Arkansas. Fayetteville is where I was born, and then ended up childhood leading up to graduated from Harbor High School in Springdale.
Oh, nice.
And then I played some baseball at Panola. That's why I went to a junior college. Was told that if I wanted to go pro, I needed to go JUCO. Like, all right. But my goal ultimately was to try and play at the University of Arkansas, and that was also what kind of fed me to Panola as well. As they said, in order to get some playing time, we also want you to go to a junior college route. Like, all right, well, where do I go? And they said, go East Texas. East Texas baseball was considered one of the best in the country, so I was able to get in front of Panola scouts, and they put me in. I played right field, first base, and then had some injuries that prevented me from being able to go any further. Quick story, there was a time where me and my roommate, we had a competition of who could get the most pro scout letters on the wall, D1 letters on the wall. And every time that we got one, it was another pin. Every time I walked in there, I'd look up there and I'd see, 4 or 5. I'd put like 3 or 4 up on my wall. And then at the end of the season, it was neck and neck, where we had pretty much the same D1 schools, because they're all coming and watching us play. and same pro scouts. And so this was my roommate was Brett McAfee. He ended up actually playing at the University of Arkansas.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was really cool just being a part of that type of competition, that level of talent. And I tore the labrum in my right hip, had the same surgery that Alex Rodriguez had to have. And then they said, well, if a Hall of Famer isn't coming back from it, an 18-year-old isn't coming back from it. They were right.
well, let's talk about that for a second. So you're zooming way ahead, but, number one, I have to ask you, what was it like growing up in Northwest? Because Northwest Arkansas isn't the same now as it was then. So by comparison, I mean, what was it like growing up in this area at that time?
Oh, well, where we are sitting here today was farm. And I mean, the Promenade Mall wasn't here.
Yeah.
Northwest Arkansas it has grown exponentially. And I love it. I mean, I love it for it. The fact that I tell people all this time, it's kind of like a mixing pot. I mean, you've got so many cultures that are having to come here in Northwest Arkansas because of Walmart, J.B. Hunt, Tyson, Walmart requiring all their suppliers to have a hub here in Northwest Arkansas, and just the exposure of people and network that has opened up in this area is awesome. I mean, as you are probably just aware as well.
Oh, dude, I came up here in 2002, and again, all of this was just we got people coming in on us. Hey,
checking us
out. Yeah.
What's this
who
about?
are these guys? I came up here in 2002, and it was. I remember talking to old timers at the time, and they were like, "Oh, it's changed so much," but I can't imagine what their change looks like, because the change that I've seen just in 20-something years is just it. When we first came here, our offices is in the Kimberly-Clark Unilever building.
Yeah,
none of this existed. No. I mean, not any of this. I mean, it's just wild, and I mean, it's crazy what 5 years will do, but let alone 10, 15.
Yeah.
So the growth is phenomenal. So I bet to you, I mean, it's kind of, if you ever let yourself take a step back, growing up in this area and just seeing what it is now, it's kind of like,
it's fun.
Yeah,
it's fun. I'm enjoying it. The amount of exposure and opportunity in this area is incredible. So whenever I went to the University of Arkansas, one of the things that they preached here is that this is Silicon Valley of supply chain. I mean, if you wanted a job in supply chain, you're already here. And that is what has been able to afford me to work my way up in corporate and be able to stay here in Northwest Arkansas, be a part of some really good companies and have a lot of really good leadership experience without having to leave Northwest Arkansas, which I think is just a great opportunity. If anybody, this is one thing I also say about Arkansas, is if you find your way here through some type of rotation, working in corporate, there's a lot of people that have to rotate into working with the number one retailer in the world. They end up finding themselves staying a little bit longer or always coming back.
Oh yeah,
it's like a magnet. It pulls you back into Northwest Arkansas just because of, well, one, if you have a family here, it's a great place to raise a family. If you're trying to build a career, it's a great place to have a network and also have incredible exposure to people who are business owners, other entrepreneurs, or other people who are just trying to create more for themselves. And this place is a great opportunity for that.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think for years people truly understood it, but the word's out now. It was kind of a hidden secret for a long time. It felt like, like people kind of knew.
Yeah.
But the past 5 years, it just seems to everybody and their brothers like, wait a minute. When you've got Hollywood coming here to, purposefully trying to figure out ways to come and film here, and you have musical artists purchasing houses here, something's up.
Yeah.
And everybody loves the hometown charm. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we still got that southern feel.
Yeah.
It hasn't been pushed out yet.
Yeah. We're hoping to hang on to that as long as we can.
Yeah. Well, as long as we got guys like us, right?
That's right.
Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Yes, sir. No, sir.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, manners go a long way.
They do. They do.
All right. Well, let's talk about something real quick, too, because you mentioned, because you seem like a pretty resilient guy, what I know of you, and the time we've had to spend together, before this show, you seem like a pretty resilient dude.
Yeah.
And roll with the punches.
Yeah.
And so let's talk about, because this is a hard issue for a lot of people, because I've seen people go through these different athletic injuries.
Right.
And, put yourself into, that time frame and just kind of, what was that like? Because obviously you had built up, you spent a lot of time. If you'd made it to that point, had given.
I thought it was my future.
Your countless hours.
Yeah.
And there's so many people that do that, and then and I see them go one of two ways. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Let's get real.
I do.
They just annihilate them, or they rise to the challenge and go a different direction. Put yourself in your headspace. Put us in your headspace.
Yeah. So to start off, really what it boils down to is I was always told to just do what you're supposed to do. I mean, my dad instilled in me from an early age is like, no, if you want to pursue a career in baseball, you got to do what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to go to practice. You're supposed to train in between. You're supposed to get up early. You're supposed to run. You're supposed to eat right. You're supposed to pay attention to the coach. But as I came across the obstacle of tearing the labrum in my right hip, then 2 years later, I kept trying to still kept trying to play baseball. And so I went to University of Arkansas at Monticello. They kept my scholarship, and then had a herniated disc in my lower back.
Oh no.
Yeah. So that was not fun. But to be 20 years old and to have hip surgery and then have to have back surgery. Well, baseball career was over, but it didn't stop me from trying to continue to achieve what, honestly, just a good life.
Was it one of those things where you're just like, okay, well, this is it. We just got to move forward.
Yeah.
Did you struggle with it at all?
No.
Really?
No. Yeah.
It's just kind of, it is what it is.
It is what it is because it's, I don't think that I should let anything debilitating to prevent me from trying to accomplish something. I mean, the one thing that has been true to who I am is I'm somewhat of a visionary. I have this vision for what I want. What do I want to accomplish? And these little obstacles of injuries, or let's say that I didn't get the promotion, or let's say that I had a different type of feedback or review that I wasn't expecting, and that kind of prevented me from being able to move forward. Well, one thing that I truly believe within myself is that I'm certain to, as long as my intentions are true and pure to what I want to do, which is help people and develop relationships and to give back to as many people as I can, then I'm going to accomplish something. I mean, there's going to be, there's purpose behind that. There's meaning behind that. And if I get hurt, then it's just part of my story. That's it.
Okay, so I got to switch gears then, because something just popped in my head, because you're an ex-bodybuilder.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so you're an ex-bodybuilder that's had hip surgery and back surgery.
Yeah.
Okay, so how'd you work into that?
How'd that happen?
Yeah.
My folks, they owned World Gym in Northwest Arkansas.
Is that right?
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
World Gym. Okay.
I grew up in the gym.
Okay.
My stepdad and my mom. So my stepdad started, it was Gold's Gym. I think it was Jungle Gym before then, Gold's Gym, then World Gym.
Yeah.
And so I grew up in the gym. So I was always around that type of thing.
You never had to pay for a membership.
No, I did not. No, I did not. And you know what? I still don't have to pay for membership. Whenever you make good friends with the owners of the gym, they're just like, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's fun. But yeah, I didn't have to pay for gym membership. So that was another thing that was kind of enticing to be able to go, is like, this is like at this beautiful facility at my exposure, and I get to use this. So I grew up in that atmosphere, and it was a part of my habit. It was a part of who I was. It's just continually working on myself. And then as you grow up in that community, then you start thinking about, okay, well, that's the next thing that I can be competitive in. Whenever baseball was over, it was like, okay, I can be competitive in trying to build my physique. And as you get encouragement from the people that are around you, it starts working further and further into something. And so this was interesting. I took a gamble here, and I tried to find a coach for bodybuilding. And are you familiar with the Olympia?
Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely.
So it's the #1 bodybuilding show in the world.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought, okay, well.
A quick side note, and obviously it didn't pay off, but I used I can't remember the guy, but they had a training system that was based off one of the ex-guys on there.
Yeah.
Completely annihilates your body.
Oh, yeah.
Like, dude, like the amount of just the amount of reps alone is just, it's insanity. it's insanity. I always have. I don't think it's just built in me, but dude, the amount of dedication, every calorie counts, every second in the gym counts. Like it's so dialed in.
Yeah, it's a life discipline.
It really is.
Yeah, the sleep, all the way down to the sleep, the supplements, the food, even just keeping your stress levels down. Like what the time that you spend in the gym, the cardio, every aspect of it is it's your life. It's consuming. It's consuming, and hopefully, or maybe I'll get to the part of the story why I'm not bodybuilding anymore. As life got more consuming. But one thing that really excited me and was encouraging was I reached out to a coach that was a coach for Olympians, people who got on the Olympia stage, and one of his athletes had won one of the second biggest competition in the world, which is the Arnold Classic in the classic physique division. And so I reached out to this coach just kind of on a whim. Like I didn't think he was going to actually take me on. I reached out to him. He said, yeah, send me some pictures. Let me know. I'll let you know. Maybe I can pass you off to somebody, but right now I'm kind of full. And I sent him some pictures and he was like, I'll take you on.
No, that's awesome.
So that's got to be really encouraging. It's like, okay, this guy who only deals with like the best of the best athletes, this could be something for me, maybe something that I could pursue. I've always wanted some type of outlet or some type of platform that I could use to share, to give to a community. I just share information. One of the main messages that I'm always trying to preach is, one, to be intentional with everything that you do, but also find purpose in everything that you're doing. I think that's what is the driving force for growth, for personal development, for personal growth. And I'm trying to just encourage that. I surround myself with men and for people that want not only more for themselves, but more for the people that are around them. And I thought that this outlet of being able to develop and build an image of this bodybuilder, this guy that can win awards or be able to be put up on stage. I thought that was going to be my outlet of being able to share this information and share this vision, this goal, this desire that I have to have a community of men that are driven, that are ambitious, that really just want to also give into each other. But bodybuilding fell out because I ended up having a snow skiing accident.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's okay. It's just part of my story, right? It's another accident that I thought I was supposed to do one thing, and it ended up being something else.
Where was the accident?
So I was in Colorado. The name is kind of leaving me right now. Pagosa Springs. I went to Pagosa, and it was the very first time that I ever went skiing.
Oh, yeah. Did you have lessons?
No.
See, that's the problem. The first time I went skiing, I was told, make sure you get lessons. I was like, I got this. Got a problem. I got this. And I ended up busting up my ankle. It's horrible.
Oh,
it is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is. And I think that the injury could have been prevented. But that first day out there, I was doing great. I mean, the guys that I was with, they were like, yeah, how you're doing your first time out there is not how I did. And they kept encouraging me to do more and more. They're like, oh, yeah, you got this. If you want to go down the greens are boring. Let's go down the blues. And the day that I ended up getting hurt, it was the second day out there. So I've already had a full day and everything was under my belt. Yeah, I felt good. And then we got out there the second day. And it was at the end of the second day. We just got off the lift. The bell's ringing. And we were done. So I thought, okay, well, I'll just lead down this easy trail that I've been going down all day. And then a buddy of mine, he was like, no, let me lead. Let me lead this time. Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
Well,
Every time.
As we were getting down there, the snow started getting icy. So it was a little bit, I mean, as you're riding on it, you're just kind of skidding. I don't know if you've been on icy snow. But
not good.
On skis was not good. And I went down this one piece of the hill on a blue that I'd not been on all day. Didn't know how I was going to react. It was in the shade, and so I didn't know what the real terrain was for it. And I'm an amateur. I mean, this is the second day I've ever been out there.
Right.
And I saw this older guy going down it real easy. I mean, like it was nothing. He was just and I thought, okay, I'm just going to follow that line. Follow that line. Well, I was much heavier, much bigger than this guy, and so whenever I tried to follow that line, my skis were just going do all sideways. I could not stop. And so I just started tumbling down that hill, and I got a bad knee still. I got a bad back. So whenever I'm laying there, I'm just assessing, whole body.
What have I done?
Is my head okay? Is my knee okay? Is my back okay? And then I went to go kind of lift my arm up, and I'm thinking, oh no, something's missing. Something's missing. And I tore all 3 ligaments off of my AC joint on my left shoulder.
Man. What was the recovery time for that?
No, it wasn't too bad. Let's see. I had surgery pretty much right after I got back.
Mm-hmm.
And
isn't that the worst though? Like when you know you really messed something up and you're just kind of sitting on it. You're like, how bad really is this? Yeah. And you know it's not good.
Yeah.
Because you got to wait to get it really assessed.
Yeah, and get it figured out. So, but if you've been to Pagosa Springs, they've got springs. They got the hot springs that are right there. Yeah. So the next day, I spent the whole day in the hot springs, was massaging and rubbing it out and trying to stretch it. And I was like, oh, okay, I think I'm good. And so I got back out there the day after that. Yeah. But I was real gentle. I didn't fall. Yeah. Everything went well. I still had a good time.
Good. Well, you healed up nicely then.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah. After the surgery.
Right. Yeah. What was how long did it take that to heal? This area scares me completely because I've known so many people that have had shoulder and rotator cuff and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Such an atrocious area to heal.
Yeah. It wasn't bad. I think, we're a year since the surgery. Since I did it this month last year.
Oh, wow.
And so I had my surgery in February, or at the end of February. And I'm still working out the same. Yeah.
Yes.
It's not 100% back, as is anytime you have surgery. It's never really 100%, but it's good enough.
Good
enough. Yeah, so I'm not focusing on bodybuilding anymore. I'm focusing on being functional. I just want to be able to move good whenever I'm in my 50s, my 60s, my 70s.
Yeah.
I'm in my 30s right now. Mm-hmm. And after having all these surgeries, having all these, I'm breaking down.
Yeah. Oh, dude, when I'm almost 42, but whenever they tell you, and I remember somebody telling me at your age, it's like, oh, just wait till you hit 40. It's like something I remember some dude telling me this is like when you hit 40, it's like somebody flips a switch. And I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. And when I hit 40, it was like,
oh no,
oh dude, it's crazy. It's like it's not drastic, but it's enough that you notice it.
Yeah.
And so.
What is it what are the ailments on it?
It's just kind of certain how it's a combination of things. It's like, for me, like I can still get with it, but it takes more work to maintain what I got, and I've done a horrible job of that recently. But I just
stretch,
all this everything, everything's a little bit
longer to get up,
a little bit longer to heal. So it's kind of different, but hey, it's life, baby. It's life. So, but you're right for conditioning and trying to stay on top of it. There's so many people that don't prescribe to that it's like I can see the writing on the wall for 20 years and from now, let alone 5 or 10. It all adds up.
Yeah. One thing that I'll share with you too is there's this guy that I work with, and he's got a few kids, and he came up to me one day whenever we were all together at this convention. And he asked me, it's like, well, like, how do you stay motivated? Like, how do you stay in this constant state of managing your diet, managing your exercise? Like, I want to get into that. And I said, well, now that I've got 2 boys that are both under 2 years old. One of them turns 2 this month. Mm-hmm. And I just told him, I was like, look, whenever it comes time to that they are on the baseball field, on the football field, on the basketball court, whatever it may be, I know that they're going to be playing sports that's in their genes. Mm-hmm. But I don't want another man out there with my kids. Like, I want myself to be able to be physically out there and be able to help them. Like, that's important to me.
Absolutely.
I think it's important to be a part of them at that aspect of your life if you physically can control that. Mm-hmm. And so I've completely changed gears off of bodybuilding because that's slow movement. That's very tight. It's very strict movements. You're not functional at that point. So now I'm only focusing on being functional. And playing golf, whatever level of functionality that is.
How good are you at golf?
Good enough that I hold my own with people who have like a +3, +5 handicap, but I'm just out there having fun too.
Yeah.
I'm not.
I completely stink, but I absolutely love it. I love golf.
Yeah.
I love golf. I'm a late. Have you always played golf?
No, last year was the first serious year.
Gotcha. Well, there's which I am not. I'm not naturally athletic. I tell everybody that I am not an athlete. I'm more of I'm more of an artist. I'm a musician.
Yes.
And any type of sports, I'm just good enough to get by on things. I'm not horrible. I'm not the worst guy, but I'm definitely not the best. I'm that guy that in the schoolyard and like, all right, there's like 4 or 5 people left, and out of 20, like, all right, I'll take Woolley.
He looks like he can do something.
he might get help us out here and there.
Yeah, you're tall. That helps.
Yeah, absolutely. But I came into golf about 6 years ago now, and I had so many opportunities when I was younger to play, but I didn't. I mean, dude, I had access to go play at some like private clubs and at really great places, but I was like, no, I'm not the guy you want to take. I'll just end up embarrassing everybody. If I go back in time, I just would have been like, gone for it. But at the time, though, it was business deals going on and such. You don't want to be the guy that's like, who brought the loser, Yeah. But absolutely love it. I love the game.
Oh, yeah.
There's nothing like, especially if you're in an office or any type of setting that's just very corporate. It's nice to be able to break away and just get into some nice clean air.
Yeah.
Even if you stink, it's wonderful.
Yeah. Well, I think in any environment, really, it'd be good to just get out there because that's all you get to focus on.
Yeah,
that's all you get to focus on.
Mm-hmm.
I listen to podcasts and other people talk about what is it they do to get away from that constant stimulation of what do I need to do next for my business, or what do I need to do next to be able to build, to grow, or to create. And so the other one is Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. That's another one that to be able to get into. And I asked my wife if I could get into that. She's like, that's another thing that you just need to. You don't have enough time. You don't have the time for that. Like, well, I could get up early. Maybe I could do like 5 a.m. She's like, yeah, but what about the newborn or the toddler? We don't know what their sleep schedule is like. It's like, all right, I'll wait till they're a little bit older.
One of my longest friends is we've known each other since we were 5, but real close since we were about 12, 13. And he is a master in jiu-jitsu and aikido. And so
he can hurt you.
Yeah, without flinching. Like he's one of these guys like you see in the movies, like he just pinches your earlobe and you're like, that he knows just about every. I mean, and with no effort.
That's cool.
I wish he's in Russell, but he was kind of an interesting guy. He was trained, and again, I'm botching the story, but there was one guy, and there's 2 guys in the U.S. that were trained by the sensei across the pond. That was like the guy for this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And Joe is his name. His trainer was one of those 2. So Joe's like just a man away from the main guy kind of thing. I don't know all the story, but like he's like epically awesome. And there's been a lot of, I'd have to find the story, but I believe it because I've seen the work that Joe can do. Like he can bring 3 guys to the ground in like 2 seconds. It's like watching a Steven Seagal movie or something. Like it's.
Well, it'd be cool to be able to do that.
Oh yeah,
it'd
absolutely.
be cool to be able to do that. I
wish he was up here. I would train with him. He's up here, but he lives in Russellville. It's just too far away. Anyways, moving forward. So was it basically, in your career getting into the supply chain stuff? Was it just? Did you do it because it just felt like a solid pathway, or was there a desire for it? That's basically it?
Yeah, I went from, I wanted to do kinesiology, so that's why I had a biology minor at Pinnacle College. And then it turned out that I was more passionate about something dealing with business, and I knew that business was the area that I wanted to go to. And I also wanted to get in a position to where I could help my mom and my stepdad with the gym. So I thought that, okay, and what kind of degree or information do I need to have that I could help with this business? And so I thought accounting and finance, and if that business for whatever reason isn't what my path was supposed to be directed towards, accounting and finance is a shoe-in for any type of
right.
Turns out that I just do not like looking at that many spreadsheets and that much number and detail. I need to be able to think more strategically. And I'm sure that there are instances in accounting and finance that you can be a strategic thinker in certain, I guess, paths. That's probably the main thing that you end up doing. But in supply chain, that's all I'm doing. That's all I'm doing is I'm trying to think strategically about what are some of the strategic solutions that I can have to a never-ending slew of challenges and problems. And that's what supply chain was for me. I went to U of A, and they make you go, or at least at the time whenever I was there, they made you go through the core four. It was marketing, accounting, supply chain, and I'm forgetting the last one. But supply chain was the one that piqued my interest. And I thought, okay, well, accounting, I did well in that class, and marketing wasn't up my alley, and supply chain I really liked. So the professor at that time was Terry Esper, and I was able to build a relationship with him, and he invested in me into some of the pathway that he thought that I should go into. And that's how I got into Reckitt Benckiser as a supply chain co-op, was through that type of conversation, that type of relationship building. And as I worked my way up through supply chain and started to have more of teams that I was working with and teams that were working for me, I started to try and figure out, okay, what is it that a leader really needs, or what is it that a leader really needs from a development perspective? Because I've had some people that are not, that I thought that they were really strong in some areas, but in other areas it wasn't clicking for me. I thought surely there's a better way of being able to do this. Surely there's a better way of being able to handle whatever challenge that was with the team. So I started to dive into, I'm a big reader, and so I started to really dive into self-development, leadership books, strategy books, all the way from also principle books and philosophy books, psychology books, just trying to understand, okay, how do people work? How do people operate? Because I want to get the most out of my people, not only for the sake of being a good leader, but one thing that I thought was the most important is that people need to be invested into. And how can I invest into these people the right way? How can I, like I said, with supply chain, it's an onslaught of challenges. And the way you get over those is you have to work with people. It's like, okay, what's the best way of being able to get through to these people so that we can have the best solution? Because there's a number of solutions that you can try and come up with, but what's the best solution with the information that I can get and I can share with these people? And I kind of led to where we are today, which is I have developed these three core philosophies with my team, and it's around purpose, trust, and learning. And as I'm applying these principles with my team, we received accolade and got recognition from the CEO of my company of how good we are with our customer. And I thought, okay, well, that's a pretty big checkbox.
Yeah,
it's like, all right, I feel accomplished, feel comfortable about that. My team and I were somewhat of a family. I mean, anytime that we interact or we have like feedback sessions or have reviews, it's all very transparent, very personal, and it's because we know what's going on in each other's lives, and I have invested into wanting to make sure that those three core principles are a part of who I am as a leader. I want to make sure that my people find purpose in what they're doing. And
let's elaborate on that.
Yeah,
let's do a deep dive. Okay, let's do a deep dive into the three. So
okay,
walk us through your process.
Okay.
Yeah. We don't have to give the whole spiel. It's a lot. I know.
It is. Yeah.
But top level, I mean.
Well, it's all going to be, it's all available on my website. So Pinnacle Strategy Consulting.com. Okay. And the reason that it's all available on my website is because my purpose is to share information. I mean, I'm devoting a lot of time and energy, and it's something that I'm passionate about is being able to learn all of this, but not to just hold it and consume for myself. I want to be able to share with as many people as I can. And if I can get rewarded from that monetarily, then great. Hopefully that can be my future. But it's important to me too, to get these out, because I think that just, it has created, I've seen fruits of this with the people that I work with that that buy into and enjoy these types of philosophies. And one being around purpose. I think that no matter what job that you're doing, that you can find purpose in that job if you are a number of things that are lining up with your leadership team. But you can. That's one thing that I want from my people is I want them to find that there's purpose in what they're doing. I don't think that it is valuable to come into the working environment nowadays where you have a boss that just says, "Hey, here's what I want you to do, and do it. Just do it." And with a lot of the new generation that's coming in too, they also want to know why. Like, what's the meaning behind why I'm doing this? I need something a little bit more driving force. Like, I want to put more, I want to give you more. In order to give you more, I need to understand more. And I don't think that people go into these positions anymore with the concept or the idea that the only thing that should be motivating them is money. I think really money is an aspect of it, but it's also meaning. It's also purpose. And so that's where I come up with the principle of purpose-driven and finding meaning in what is it that you're doing. And so that's the first one. We can dive deeper into that if you'd like, or we can move on to the next.
Oh no, that's fine. That's fine. Let's just do top level. Yeah. Let's not. We don't have that kind of time, and we don't want to strip you of your consultation either.
No, it's okay. No. This is stuff that I'm excited about. This is what excites me.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is stuff that I've spent many hours trying to learn and develop, and it's something that I find that works within my team. So I just want to share. That's really what
rock on. Let's go. Let's go to two then, baby. Yeah, let's make it happen.
The next one's about trust in action.
Okay.
And being transparent. I talked to you about like what people want to know, why that they're doing something, or why are there decisions that are being made at a higher level. Ultimately, I think a lot of these companies they get so hyper focused on, well, we're just trying to make more money. It's like there's a lot that can be broken out into that. I understand we're trying to make more money, but I also want to understand what the strategy is. I mean, whenever you're with your leader, you want to understand why are these decisions being made? Like, what is the direction that we're trying to go with these decisions that are being made? And two, it's also about trust, because I want to know how you are conveying me as a person to the rest of the organization. I mean, there's the PI model: performance, image, and exposure. And the image and exposure, those are really difficult to do on your own. You need a leader to be able to help you get more exposure within the organization on being able to enhance what your image is to other people. So that, let's say that I don't know who Matt is, but I do know who Matt's boss is. And if I'm talking to Matt's boss, I want to know, okay, like, who should I be working with? I've got this really big project that's coming up, and I trust Matt's boss to be able to relay who's a good high performer for them. But the thing is, maybe Matt is an incredible performer, but in his silo, he doesn't know, he's not outspoken. He's not the type to raise his hand or to be able to speak up whenever you have 134 people on a Zoom call. So the purpose is for your leader to be able to say, okay, these people are really good workers. I need to get them exposure to the rest of the organization. That's not only going to help them to be able to grow, but it's also going to help them with their image. And that, are you familiar with the PI model? Performance and image exposure, where performance, I think, is only in the 20% of the total pie, and image and exposure make up almost 80%.
Yeah, pretty wild.
It's nuts.
Wow.
That if you only focus on performance, that's such a small portion of it. But to come back to full circle, I need to be able to trust my leaders. I need to be able to trust that they are looking out for the best interest of me, because I'm trying to make it to where their job is easier, or I'm trying to do my job the best that I can so that my leadership can get the exposure that they need, or so that their image can be positive. And then also transparency in why we're doing what we're doing. If there's a huge structural change, there's timing that is important to be able to understand why the company, or when the company is going to be doing what they're doing. But I'd like to know why. I don't want to show up every day thinking, oh, well, is my job on the line today? Is all that I'm doing for this company, is it going to be for nothing tomorrow? Because I don't know what they're trying to do. I can try and see the writing on the wall of, is a company doing really well? Is it doing poorly? What do they think about me? I need some. We'll go to the next piece of within transparency is feedback. And I need to know from my leadership, how do they think about me? Tell me give me transparent feedback on what it is that I can do to either enhance my image, to be able to create a better level of performance for you, because I only know based on my experiences, based on who I am, based on the information that I've pieced together. But I'm not in your head. You and I have had two completely different life experiences. So how am I supposed to know exactly how you're thinking? Like, how are you viewing what I'm doing? I think I'm doing a great job. I'm getting great performance evaluations from these people. These people are giving me really positive feedback. But like, you're in control of what happens to me in this next phase. I mean, can I trust that you're looking out for the best interest of me? Are you investing into me the right way? And investing is the next piece. It's the last one is to be a lifelong learner. I think that's the one important. Yeah, I think that's one of the most crucial aspects of it. I mean, you can't, well, especially with AI today, you can't be in a position to where you think that all the information that you know right now is going to be security for you for the future.
Oh, yeah.
Especially whenever we have no idea what AI is going to be in the next 4 years.
Yes, especially with the development of the $500 billion supercomputer. Dude, that's wild.
$500 billion. $500 billion. I can't wrap my head around that. I can't wrap my head around how much is being invested into the infrastructure. That's just the infrastructure of artificial intelligence. I mean, the amount of energy that's going to consume.
But it's going to be intense. That's another podcast topic.
Yeah. I love that whole space. It's really exciting.
It's wild. It's continuing to evolve at rapid pace.
Yeah. But the last thing I'll close with this really is, my objective is to come into an organization or even just meet with an individual and help them to be able to transform their culture or to be able to innovate with their team and get more out of their people. It really boils down to purpose. And I think that everybody views it the same way that I do, which is if you find purpose and meaning in what you're doing, you're going to put a lot more effort behind it. And here's a statistic that I thought was really interesting was after 2020, there was an increase of 70% of people who went from trying to be overachievers to just getting by because of the type of investment that they're getting in from their leadership, from the type of lack of transparency from their organization that they're getting. They're not being in the office has separated them from being able to feel comfortable with their employer now. And here's an even scarier one. It was an 80% increase of people after 2020 that are trying to harm their company. That one I didn't even know was in the bucket.
Wow.
I thought that was huge.
That's alarming.
Yeah. So
purposely trying to harm their company
because they don't feel like they are given the level of empathy or investment from their company anymore.
That's not good.
Yeah. So again, this was what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to somewhat transform the culture in whoever is willing to accept me as help or service, is to be able to come in there and just say, like, what can I do to help get more out of your people and to also make them feel like there's more purpose behind what it is that they're doing.
So what inspired you to go this direction? Did you just, was it the getting like, wait a minute, whenever you just got the recognition from the CEO, or was it something in the back of your head, or was that confirmation? What was it?
Well, it started off from being passionate for my people. It started off being passionate with my people, and what I told you, I'm a reader. So I was reading all of these things about philosophies and leadership, and I was sharing that with my team, and they have had a lot more experience in their careers, and they've had a lot more people in leadership, and they said, you need to find a way to share this. You need to find a way to be a consultant, to be able to go into other companies and share this type of information. And then here's another thing that was funny. So one of my previous companies, they flew us to a location and had over 200 people get together. The purpose of this was, one, to try and build up some more energy, more momentum to go into the year and get people excited about what they were trying to accomplish. And they had a consulting company come in specifically about leadership. And it was really funny because everything that they were going over, I mean, we spent over half a day going over, pretty much a full day of going over all the materials that they were sharing. And my team afterwards was like, we already do that. Like everything that they lied about, we already do that. Those are things that you've taught us. And that was another one. It was like, okay, this is what I'm trying to do. And then, or this is what, maybe I should start doing this. Just another little bit of confirmation. And then I went on paternity leave. Thank God for that. That was incredible. And so I'm a faithful man. I'm a man of God. And I just kept praying that during that whole time. I was like, okay, what am I supposed to do next? I feel like I'm at this crossroad right now where I've got two choices, and I don't know. I know that there's another choice for me, but I just don't know what it is yet. I'm waiting for somewhat of that answer. And after I got off paternity leave, that's whenever I knew that there was going to be something. There was going to be something. Whatever that fork in the road was, one of those barriers was about to be shut off, and I was going to be pushed into a direction. And this was the direction I was pushed into. I
just felt a calling.
Yeah. Felt a calling, and I started referring back to every single instance honestly, my life that led me to want to get to where I am today, which is I want to share as much as I can about investing into people and about creating purpose and to share what I find is meaningful to other people. And it's about self-development, personal development, investing into your community, investing into your people. Everywhere you go, it's just another person that you're working with. Like, they have their own life, and it's important to show enough empathy towards that person that if there's something going on in their personal life, that it shouldn't affect that you shouldn't be so offended from their professional side. At least that's one small piece. But the
I agree with that.
Biggest picture for me is I love seeing that my team is happy with what they're doing, and that provides me purpose. It also is another piece of confirmation. It's like, okay, I need to get out there. I need to share.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what's the website again?
PinnacleStrategyConsulting.com.
PinnacleStrategyConsulting.com.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, this is great. Just a fantastic story. So I have to ask, let me switch gears. I'm a reader too. So what is your catalog look like? Are you like me and you've got so many books ahead in line that there's no way you're going to knock them down? I go to Barnes & Noble or order online. Someone says, oh, dude, you know, check out this book. I just automatically buy it. I probably got like 60 books that I haven't even hit yet.
Yeah.
What's top 5?
Top 5 books for me. So from a nonfiction perspective, Principles by Ray Dalio.
Dude, you are the first person that has ever, other than me, that's recommended that book.
Really?
Dude, okay. So here's the way I look on this one. That is fantastic.
It is a good one.
Well, he divides it up so well.
Yeah. And,
you know, I tell everybody the problem that I have this day and time is that books right now, like, you can read an entire book, 300, 400 pages, and really you just get like, it's the same message drilled in your head 300 times. Yeah. That book's not that way. No. That book is just full of great knowledge. It's a long read, but it's well worth it.
Oh, yeah. Yes, well, and it's work and life principles.
It is.
So you can break it up too, and it's also broken down into numbers.
Story's fantastic.
Stories are great. Yeah.
His story's fantastic in the way he's developed everything. Oh, yeah. And I like how he paints the picture. It wasn't perfect. This is the culmination of what it's, of his success.
Yeah. You know? Well written.
Yeah.
Definitely well written.
The scorecards. That's great. I love that stuff. I mean, all of it, Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
No, it's okay.
That excites me because you're literally the first person and I've bought that book for other people and they're like, oh man, it's like a Stephen King novel.
Yeah.
But I keep that to, it's like, dude, read it. It's great.
What's funny is that what led me to that book is that it was a recommendation within a book. And that book is The Next 5 Steps by Patrick Bet-David.
Okay.
Or if you're familiar.
I've heard of this book. Haven't read it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It was also a great book. And it's essentially, the book is look at life like it is a game of chess.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you can look at the next 5 moves, that makes you a grandmaster in chess. If you can see 5 moves ahead. Mm-hmm. So it's a book that tries to restructure the way that you think so that you can think more strategically about what you're trying to accomplish. Mm-hmm. And one of the books that was recommended was Principles, and it was referred to several times in that book. I was like, okay, I love this book. Mm-hmm. This guy has referred this book 3 or 4 times. Mm-hmm. I've got to try and read this. Mm-hmm. And it was, I would say it was not life-changing, but it definitely had a paradigm shift in how I view my own life. Starting to come up with more principles for a lot of different areas of my work and personal life.
There's some books you can just read one, you get one wisdom nugget, maybe 2.
Yeah.
That's how I am. And that's great if you can apply it, but there's some books that just blow it out of the water.
Yeah.
And that's one of them.
Yeah.
It truly is.
It is, yeah. Well, another book that I really enjoyed, and this was mostly because I liked thinking about the philosophies that people apply in their life. That to me is a view that I try to pull out of pretty much a lot of books that I read. And so Elon Musk, the book, I can't remember who it's from, but the title is Elon Musk.
Okay.
And just to be able to hear his story, but to also understand the level of commitment and sacrifices that he made to be able to have the type of life that he's in right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think that one thing that's important about books is I like to read about very successful, ultra successful men because they don't think like the average man.
Yeah.
How can I put myself somewhat into the same thinking process that these people are? Like, what is it how do they operate? And to be able to, it wasn't written by Elon, but Elon gave the check of approval to be able to send out. And there was one piece of that that I find to be, that was really exciting, or at least attractive to me, was to see his level of commitment to try and ensure that his vision was made true. And it was simply that he is trying to expand the human consciousness to multiplanetary, which, that sounds like a pretty big deal to me.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Yeah. So if you
pretty
can identify, if you can identify one thing that you are passionate about, and you are willing to make every sacrifice to make sure that happens. Mm-hmm. That was inspiring. Mm-hmm. That was inspiring. So that was another good book. That's 3 books.
Okay.
One book that I read that I thought was really good, and it's on the top chart, so it's not like it's going to be very eye-opening to anybody watching. But Atomic Habits.
Oh yeah, Atomic
really
Habits.
Yeah. I used I think it's a metaphor that he uses at the very beginning of that book all the time, and it is or analogy of the ice cube melting. Do you remember that? Mm-hmm. That makes such a big deal. And for people who are watching, I'll go ahead and go through it really quickly, is that a lot of us, we see that our efforts aren't making any changes. Mm-hmm. Every single day, you're just trying to move that needle a little bit further, and you're not really seeing any changes. But the way that this book describes that you need to keep pushing is the way that the solid state of an ice cube. So you're sitting in a room just like this. There's an ice cube in front of you, and it is 25 degrees in there. Well, it is freezing for you. 27 degrees is really cold. Ice cube is also going to stay frozen because it's below the melting point. 27, 28, 29, 30 feels the same to you, feels the same to the ice cube. But the second that it goes from 32 to 33 degrees, that ice cube has a paradigm shift. there's no difference between 32 and 33 degrees from me to you. We don't see any difference. And so it's the same thing with us trying to move that needle. We're not going to see much of a difference in our own lives of what we're doing by moving 1 degree, but that ice cube, it goes from a solid state to a liquid state. It has a complete paradigm shift of its own conscious state. Or not, maybe not conscious, because ice cubes aren't conscious, but but as of its physical state, it goes from a solid to a liquid, and that is a huge shift, a huge transformation that we get to see. And it's that same type of mentality of like, if you just keep trying to move that needle just a little bit every single day, you are going to see a huge paradigm shift in what it is that you're trying to accomplish or what you're trying to do within yourself or within your life. And that is one analogy I use all the time with people.
It is. Well, you have to, those big, there's a lot of people that look at themselves in the mirror and they say, I want to be fit. Or there's people that say, I want that next promotion. Or whatever the challenge is, we've kind of built a culture out that wants instant gratification. Yeah. There's truth to that. Yeah. And the reality is that it takes time, it takes gradual steps, and it takes just a little bit of change every day. Yeah. You're not going to see instantaneous results, but if you start here a year from now, and that's the concept of it. There was another concept, I can't remember, it was an old school book, but I've heard a lot of industrialists and different entrepreneurs talk about the same concept, but essentially changing just 5 to 10% a day in your activities. Maybe you walk a few more steps, or maybe you eat a little less, or maybe you read just a little more. Yep. Those little incremental things, but if you do that every day, it stacks up. And that's basically the same.
It is. Yeah. The same
great.
thing.
All right. What's number 5?
Okay, let's see. I'm trying to think of what's on my completed book list right there. I'm gonna go with a fiction book.
Okay.
Yeah, a fiction novel series, and this was a good kind of getaway because I usually don't get into fiction, but this was a good one. It's called the Red Rising trilogy.
Okay.
One of the things that I enjoy about these types of books, or really any film or any story, is I like whenever the protagonist is just an overpowering character. Like, he steps into the room and he just dominates whatever challenge is in front of him. And that's I'll just give you that like small tidbit of the novel series, but it was really good. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, Brandon, we're out of time. Look, an hour went by just like that.
Yeah.
But I appreciate you coming on, and hopefully you'll come on again. And what was the name of the website? You'll be back. Okay. What's now again just for the listeners, the name of the website one more time?
Yeah, because it's a long one.
Okay.
Pinnacle Strategy Consulting.com. Yeah, check me out on LinkedIn. Okay. Check me out on Facebook.
Okay.
I will eventually start an Instagram where you're going to hear me talk all kinds of stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We'll be on the lookout. Brandon, thanks, man. Appreciate you.